advanced event mesh. It's a hot topic. I already mentioned it before. A modern system architecture is an event-driven architecture. And today we are at the Future Group in Zoetermeer, and there we have the CodeJam on advanced event mesh. And in collaboration with VNSG, this day has been organized with the Future Group. They welcomed us to their office, and I think we had about 30 participants or something. And it was really interesting, hands-on on advanced event mesh, using events from S4HANA, publishing them, and also subscribing to those events. And getting hands-on experience is really interesting. And I'd like to ask some participants for feedback on today's events, on today's CodeJam. And I also like to ask today's hosts, Antonio and Hari, on, hey, how did they experience the CodeJam and what are their tips to use advanced event mesh in an SAP world? Let's go into today's topic, advanced event mesh, integrations with SAP Business Technology Platform.
HANA Café Nederland is your one-stop shop for all things SAP. Grab yourself a coffee or tea and John Regulus, Jan Penninghoff,
Not today.
and Tom van der Broek
That's me.
with our guests as they chat about latest developments, innovations, events, or simply catch up. Let's head inside.
So question, Petra, how did you experience today's exercises for the CodeJam on event mesh?
Well, it was quite a lot, but really interesting to look into the advanced event mesh a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
I've seen a bit of the events already and read a lot about advanced event mesh, but now I've seen it in practice.
Yeah, okay. And Vincent, what about you?
Well, it was great. It was a great possibility to play a little with advanced event management. I need some more time, but I found out I've got a week more.
Yeah, a week, which is really a lot.
Which might be more likely the time I will need.
Yeah. Okay. Did you already have experience, Vincent, with event mesh?
No, I'm totally new on that part. But we're going to use it with my company.
Yeah, okay. But totally new, that's interesting. So how were the exercises set up? Could you understand if you're new in the topic?
Yeah, well, I understand, of course, the broad outline. I mean, the concepts, and I didn't get into all the details. But I hoping to do that later on.
In this coming week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just be enough.
Yeah. And Petra, how about you? Did you already have experience? Yeah, you are experienced because you have been a guest in the podcast before on integration, but also on event mesh?
Yeah, we have set it up in our demo environment and looked into it for several customers. And at Eliander, we're using advanced event mesh also.
Okay, and what kind of use case do you have?
We have a lot of events from custom apps, which we send, and also between some applications, like for example from SAP to Jira for the tickets. So yeah,
okay.
Quite common events to send out.
We worked on tickets today as well. With some. I think it was nice. It was well prepared. That you have a connection to S4, that you have business partners that have been created, and tickets have been created. How are you now going to bring this to your colleagues? Are you going to share the possibilities that you have with Event Mesh?
Yeah, we looked at a lot of different part of knowledge, like the Event Mesh itself, but also integration suite and also into the apps. So we're looking with our colleagues also in how to set up the apps and different connection types. And what we did not cover a lot today is the architecture behind it. So if we have multiple subscribers, where do we split it, right? So we have different options, so we are going to look into that deeper. Okay.
And what would be your recommendation for newbies on the event mesh?
Yeah, just start to look into it, because events will be the main thing to integrate loosely coupled applications.
Okay. Vincent, any tips from your side?
Yeah. Any tips? Well, no. Just play with it and see if you can use it.
But that's actually the trick, eh? So start using it. That's actually what you also said. Start using it. There is a lot of material available, and then you can play with it.
After next week, I will give more tips.
But then we will invite you to the podcast again, Vincent. Okay. Thanks for sharing your opinion and your experience from today. And see you next time.
Thank you.
See you next time.
HANA Café Nederland.
So today's CodeJam was on event mesh, the advanced event mesh. Antonio, Can you explain what a CodeJam is to our listeners, to our viewers?
Yeah, well, a CodeJam is basically an in-person, hands-on learning event, in essence. We cover, as part of CodeJams, different topics. So obviously, everything revolving around different SAP technologies. But some CodeJams, for example, focus on AI or HANA as well, or for example, CAP, RAP, SAP Integration Suite, SAP Build, Process Automation, different SAP products, right? And in this instance that we just finished a few minutes ago, it's on SAP Integration Suite Advanced Event Mesh.
Yeah.
And that's basically what a CodeJam is.
The CodeJam is hosted by Developer Advocate. That's what you are. What is a Developer Advocate?
Well, a Developer Advocate is basically, there's a team of us at SAP. And all we do is that we, in essence, create content so that developers out there can learn about the different SAP technologies. Not just that, but we also serve as a bridge, I would say, as a communication bridge between the community out there who's using the different tools, the different products, and product management. So we have that two-way communication. So all the feedback that we get, for example, from developers, we basically forward that to product management. And also it's like new features that are released. We have that close communication obviously with product and we know about what's coming, and then we can obviously create that content so that once it hits general availability, then developers can go ahead and learn about it.
Yeah. But that's interesting. So you go to the community, you bring new products, new solutions, but then you also close the loop back when you have feedback and then bring it back to product management.
Yes, of course, because and it's good to have that feedback, right? Because one thing is what SAP is developing, and the other thing is how customers are actually using it and the different needs that customers have, right? And sometimes it's like it could be a particular feature that it's a pain point for many customers, and we can communicate like, well, you know what, we have now a solution for this. Yeah. So yeah, it's always great to obviously get that feedback from the field, right? Sometimes, unfortunately, PMs are not that close to the field, not because they don't want to, but because it's like they're just busy developing a product. It's not a simple task, you know.
Really busy.
Yeah, so especially successful products, right? So that's the thing. Like we are those that are in the field, like getting all those questions, all that feedback. So there needs to be a way to basically go back, you know, to product.
Yeah. All right. And you are accompanied today by Harry.
Hey.
Harry, can you introduce yourself?
So I'm a developer advocate as well, but not at SAP, but at Solace.
Yeah.
So my job definition is literally what Antonio mentioned as his. We build in more content, we build in content feature, or we build information about the features so that the community, Solace community, can use those features in the best way and have a good experience with it. Also, we bring back feedback from the community to the product management team, so that to tell them, okay, we have these features, but our community or our developers are looking forward for something else, or maybe in a different way. And that communication is something that we take really at heart. Yeah. And we also help in improving our developers' experience while onboarding or using our products, so that they're not frustrated, to be honest, because that's quite common in using large enterprise products, that it's not the best user experience. So we try and make sure.
To be honest, I was pleasantly surprised. I did not work with Advanced Event Mesh yet.
Okay.
And I've seen tools that and functionality are really great, but then user interface is really bad. But with Solace, it was really user-friendly.
Thanks for that, and we are trying to actively improve that so that our developers have a quick learning step. They have a gamified learning experience, and they can start building business applications and systems quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. And now that I have both of you at the table, so SAP and I have Solace at the table, so we have within SAP Business Technology Platform, we have the event mesh service and we have advanced event mesh service. So who can guide me in what is the difference between those two services?
Yeah, I can add something to that. So, for example, in the end, what's under the hood? So, the technology that powers both of them, event mesh and advanced event mesh, even the latest version, which is event mesh embedded within SAP Integration Suite, it's Solace technology, right? Okay. So, in the end, they're both powered by Solace. You can see it that way. The main difference between both of them is that event mesh, for example, it's more focused on small to medium size sort of use cases. Yeah. So there are some limits on, for example, the number of connections that you can have in event mesh.
Queue sizes.
Yeah, queue sizes, data, for example, that can store. So there's a limit to it, you know, and unfortunately, like it's a hard limit. So you are not able to sort of upgrade your event mesh instance, for example. Like there are some limits set, and that's it. So obviously, it might make sense, for example, maybe if you have a small operation or if you're just getting started in the sort of event-driven space. But then, obviously, like if you are a large customer or you're looking at something in the future, right? Like maybe you're starting with your event-driven architecture journey, but it's like in the future you're looking to expand it, or you're looking at a potential growth, you know, then those are the scenarios where, for example, advanced event mesh might end up making more sense. That being said, I know that at least as part of the roadmap, there will also be like a migration process from event mesh in SAP Integration Suite to advanced event mesh. So even if you get started right now with something like event mesh, eventually you'll be able to do an upgrade to it. So
yeah, as they have the same engine running, that should be an easy upgrade.
You would think so.
Yeah, indeed. So following on what Antonio said, the event mesh helps you get started off. It'll introduce you to EDA, it'll introduce you to messaging, the topic filtering, the queue mechanisms. But when you start working with more complicated use case, or you want to scale up, or you want to have a proper enterprise event driven architecture mechanism, then advanced event mesh is your answer for all of those questions.
Yeah. I think something else to point out is that in a way, given that now event mesh is part of SAP Integration Suite, and there are many customers out there with SAP Integration Suite already, licenses for SAP Integration Suite, then like the barrier of entry for an event-driven sort of product in their landscape, it's lower because it's just a matter of activating a capability in SAP Integration Suite, and it's that simple. You know, like you basically go to your capabilities and say add capability, select event mesh, and then you just activate. Boom, that's it. And then you have a broker available for you to get started. You know, and that broker, for example, it's sort of fully featured, you can say, like in a way, it's like you can use that broker to send events from S4HANA, you know, you can use that broker between your applications already. You can use that broker in cloud integration as well, you know, so it's a broker that you can use for, at least to get started with those event-driven sort of needs that you might have.
Okay, and also we have at the table, we have Michel.
Yes.
Michel, you are from the Future Group. Maybe a short introduction from yourself.
Yeah, I'm an integration architect or integration developer, and those guys, they develop the product, and I'm working with the product. So
for your customers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you organize the CodeJam on this specific topic?
I think it's something which a lot of developers, a lot of companies are interested in. It's something like it used to be there already with like JMS and IBM queuing, but yeah, we need the same functionality. We need it in the cloud, so that's why we wanted to have this topic for this event. And you see by the number of attendees that it was.
How many did we have today?
We were sold out. I
Well,
think,
we had 25 were registered, and then
27 showed up.
I think actually no wait.
Maybe
That was
two
interesting,
people from the street joined
well,
us.
no,
Yeah, that was interesting.
no, so we actually had 28 in the end, I think, because 2 popped up that didn't confirm the assistance, but they came, and then there was someone who got confused who's actually signed up for the event tomorrow, because tomorrow we're also running the same CodeJam, so event-driven integrations CodeJam, but in a different location, right? Which is not that far from here, and that's actually very surprising. Like having the same CodeJam being run in 2 different cities, which are not that far away from each other, and still having quite an attendance at the event.
Yeah,
So,
from the Netherlands perspective, Zoetermeer and Den Bosch are quite far away.
Yeah, traffic-wise. That
But if you come from perspective from another country, then they are very near to each other.
I see it as it's an hour away in train, something like
It
that.
is,
So
it's-
it doesn't feel that.
Yeah, but traffic-wise,
far
it can be harder. Yeah, but even we had a few from. They came especially from Germany. One or 2 from England. I
Yes.
think.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. So it was the interest was high.
Yeah.
Okay, and so are you on a tour, Antonio?
Well, no, I'm only here today and tomorrow, and then I'm flying back home.
Yeah.
But in the end, you can see, for example, in the SAP community website, the CodeJam events page, and you can see that this type of events are happening everywhere, worldwide. And as mentioned before, different topics. Some are happening in India, in Germany, and you can see how, as you correctly highlighted before, there's people that are flying to these events. For example, at least in Europe, we had, for example, last year we did a bit of a tour, a roadshow in Latin America, and we had people from different countries in Latin America flying to Argentina or just to go to a particular event, and that's very exciting seeing that. Well, first the need of that people have for learning, right? Because they're not just there for tourism. In the end, it's like they're actually spending time learning. So it's great. Yeah. Lots of that happens.
Okay.
So people really want to have hands-on like this, and then they have direct access to you, so they can ask directly their questions and their issues. So I think that's why it's really interesting for people to join.
Yeah, and what you're saying, right? I think Harry would agree with me that in the end, it's one thing is the exercises that we go through, the hands-on learning, which is great, right? But I think the most valuable out of the time that we spend together is obviously interacting with other members of the community, definitely. Also asking questions, the discussions, the architecture questions that for example, different participants have.
Oh, definitely. That was amazing. I walked into the, what do you call this room? The adjacent room, and there
Oprah
were
Winfrey room.
Nice names for your rooms, by the way.
And there were a bunch of guys asking everything about partition queues, about queuing systems, and that advanced event mesh, and how would you do this and how would you do that. It started off from what I assumed was a 5-minute discussion to a 40-50 minutes long session.
A private session.
That was amazing.
Well, in the end, it's they make the most out of the time that they're
Definitely.
here, right? And not just that, but it's I'm sure that based on your answers, that kept triggering even more questions.
Definitely.
As in because they start thinking about, okay, how can I solve this business problem, right?
Yeah.
At this particular customer, and then obviously this might be a consultant that works for part-time different customers, and it's but this other customer has these other needs, or based on their experience, they keep asking questions. So
definitely.
Oh, that was the session with the whiteboard, and that we were drawing, and that was.
We had it in 2 places.
Oh,
one
2
in
places.
that room and one in this room over here as well.
Cool. Very interesting. Michel, how did you experience the event of the day? What did it meet your expectations?
I think it was really interesting to work on the exercises. You just get a much better feel of it, because when you see presentations, you get an idea of what it's doing. But like you mentioned, the user interface, that then you really get to work with it, and you get the feel, and it was really quite self-intuitive that you could see I'm publishing here, I'm subscribing on this side. So that with other tools from the past, that was a lot more pain, and so that's also helping in working with these exercises.
That's good.
I guess something also that's important about this type of event is that sometimes we can use paid products, like paid services. Like unfortunately, Advanced Event Mesh is not available in something like a free tier or in something like the trial environment, so a developer might not have access to it easily. Not all partners or customers have an Advanced Event Mesh running there just because they want to check it out. So this type of events give developers the opportunity to get some hands-on experience. Maybe they've heard about Advanced Event Mesh. They've seen a couple of videos that they are available on YouTube or something like that. But there's nothing like that. Clicking on that system and actually creating objects and actually seeing messages flowing and getting a feel for it, right? Yeah. And that's what's good about it in a way, like CodeJams. You can get access to those sort of paid services that you might not have access to if you don't come.
And they take this back to their companies, and then because now they have a feel for it, and you can explain it more there, what it's about, and if it's accessible or not, and if it's something for your own company. So.
For sure.
Café Nederland.
Also, let's get into the details. So what is now the most common use case for using Advanced Event Mesh in an SAP world?
You want to go? Or
we see a wide range of use cases, but I think the most common one is master data distribution and sales order distribution and sales order processing. And of course, it's one of the simplest use cases to explain or to begin off with, but it's quite an important one, because with master data distribution, for example, like price change updates, it's critical that it's done well. It's critical that it's done at the right time and as soon as possible. And with that, we see a lot more adoption towards EDA and the Advanced Event Mesh for these kind of use cases.
I think that one of the largest use cases is basically making your ERP a real-time player, as in like given how you're easily able to extend products, right? Like let's say S4HANA, right? It has all these different mechanisms to actually extend it. So consuming stuff via APIs and all that sort of stuff. But in the end, it's like nowadays the expectations is to do things in near real time. So when things are happening, it's like as Harry was mentioning, for example, like you wanna, when a sales order is created, you want that to cascade to all the different systems that you have in your landscape, right? And for that to happen, actually, it's like, well, you can listen for those events and then react to them immediately. And that's a key thing, right? Like that's the expectation nowadays with businesses. It's like you don't want things to run in a batch, after a couple of days. Where's my data? It will go in the batch job tomorrow night. It's scheduled for tomorrow. It's like, well, no, you want it to be immediately. Yeah,
but that's also, if you look at SAP, is investing a lot the past 10, 15 years on making real-time business with our solutions. But of course, if you look at a customer, it's not only SAP that they have running. Yeah. So now if you have multiple solutions and they are not integrated on a real-time basis, then you have exactly the issue, and that's where we need the Advanced Event Mesh to make it a real-time business across all the solutions.
Yeah, indeed. And another aspect that comes out a lot while using the Advanced Event Mesh is businesses don't like to lose events. Like for example, the sales orders. You lose sales orders, or you don't process them in the right moment, or you lose processing because of some issues. You are losing dollars. You're losing money, and that's always a bad choice for a business, right? So one thing that really a lot of enterprises are trying to do is make sure that you do not lose events, you do not lose messages, and you are processing them multiple times to make sure that they are there, they're actually processed in case of system outages and stuff like that, and that the AEM excels at that, to be honest.
Okay. How to get started? So if you are an SAP customer and you have an S/4HANA environment, or maybe in a little bit older environment, maybe you do some integration with the integration suite. How difficult is it then to start with the event mesh?
Yeah, the event mesh or the advanced event?
Let's talk about the advanced event mesh. Yeah.
So honestly, it's simple. As in, like, well, you know what? There are many customers out there that actually have spare credits, as part of their contracts, and some of them don't use those credits. So, for example, that would be actually the first avenue that I would end up exploring. Like, do we have spare credits or credits that we're not using in our SAP BTP contract? Because the reality is that you can end up activating advanced event mesh for a period of time. You don't really need to spin up multiple brokers. You can actually spin up a single broker, a small broker. If you want to get, and that's like, for example, like if you want to get quickly familiar with it, there's a ton of content out there to learn. So you can activate an instance. You can so for example, you can even activate a developer development broker. That development broker, you can end up connecting S/4HANA to it. So for example, let's say you have obviously you will end up having a dev S/4HANA. You can end up connecting that system to that, so you can see events flowing. That could be a quick proof of concept. That, like, the entire process, if you activate it today, for example, and you have the right, obviously, credentials in S/4HANA, like, it wouldn't take you more than an hour, 2 hours to actually get events flowing between the two systems.
That's
so
fast.
No, it is fast.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see it, and spinning up the broker it's incredibly fast. So, but that's the most simple scenario, like, and that's doing a quick proof of concept. Like, obviously, like, you would like to connect like a custom application, maybe. In that case, that will obviously require a bit more development. But honestly, it's like, in order to get familiar with that, you don't even need an advanced event mesh. Like, you can easily use like a free, like a trial environment in Solace, for example. But that's for a developer, purely development. Like, you would not be able to connect an S/4HANA system, right? Like, so, but if you want to develop a sort of a full, like, SAP to SAP sort of a product, like, you can start with very little. But obviously, it's like, like, you need to be aware that you have something running there. You need to be aware that, I don't know, set a reminder, on your phone, like, I need to shut down this.
Switch it off.
Yeah, exactly. Switch it off, and that way you'll only be charged for basically what you're using, So yeah, that's so.
So your advice is to spin it up, try it, and then if you play with it or work with it, then you can also see the advantages, and then maybe you come up with new business cases and use cases.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and obviously it's like it would be. I would say that for businesses, it will be very beneficial to actually see the data flowing, like, see it like, well, you know what, this is it. Like, you see that here we have a demo, but you can do a screen recording of it, you don't need to have that system running all the time. So just set it up, do a screen recording of what you like, showing your actual systems, interacting with those messages, showing your applications, your custom developments, actually consuming messages, seeing that S/4HANA event, for example, flowing all the way to that custom service, that microservice that you might have, or maybe you have a cloud integration there in the middle, and seeing like those messages flowing into cloud integration. So yeah, you can easily do that. That wouldn't be that complicated, honestly. And I guess that then obviously with that sort of screen recording or with that capturing that somehow, you can then use that as a business case, and show like, well, you know what, we've achieved this.
Yeah.
And if we extrapolate for that, imagine you can then easily sell an idea,
Yeah.
Those
instead
sales
of a
orders.
PowerPoint.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you visualize seeing that flow of events on one side, right? So you start publishing something, and like Michel mentioned, even in the Try Me tab, you can see the events.
That was really powerful.
Yes,
really powerful.
Indeed, exactly, right. So you just put in a trial subscriber in the Try Me tab, and you see events flowing in. Bam, 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 bam. You can say, okay, I can do whatever I want. I can connect n number of consumers or n number of systems with these events, and I can do so much processing parallelly.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be synchronous one-by-one communications, but rather independent, scalable communications. And all of these are independent of each other, of course, but also they'll make sure that you can do retries and all that stuff, exception handlings, and that's very powerful. That's the kind of value that you can bring to the business team, and saying we can accelerate our development, we can accelerate our delivery, we can accelerate our businesses with this is paradigm.
Yeah. Okay. So what would be your recommendation to start with advanced event mesh? Because that's the topic that we discussed today. It's also the CodeJam. Besides going to the CodeJam tomorrow, but maybe this podcast will be published after tomorrow, so that's difficult to invite people to. But so, what is your first step to learn on advanced event mesh?
I will still recommend a CodeJam. At least it's the easiest to get hands-on experience and get access to a system, So yeah, you're more than welcome to host another CodeJam. I'll be happy to go there with Harry and say hi to everyone and talk about advanced event mesh the entire time. That being said, I would say the next would be obviously go to the SAP Developers YouTube channel. So there's a bunch of videos that I personally created on how to configure the different scenarios. It will give you an idea, of course. It will not be your own systems and stuff like that, but it will give you an idea of, for example, what's required to connect an S4HANA system. How can you end up seeing messages flowing to something like an SAP Build Process Automation. So that will be another aspect. All the documentation is also publicly available. There's nothing behind a paywall there, so you'll be able to check that out, I would say.
For me, the most important thing with learning about AEM is the topic structures. To be very honest, that's just a differentiator that I have seen as nowhere else. To be honest,
what do you mean with the topic?
The topic, the intelligent topic structures and the intelligent routing and filtering mechanisms in advanced event mesh is something that's unique to this platform, and it can help you build your solutions in a very innovative manner. So,
and with the topic, you mean you can subscribe to business partners or tickets, or is that what you mean?
With the filterings, you can do subscriptions to business partner updates for a specific business partner, or for a specific geographical location, or for a specific whatever filter that you have, whatever criteria that you have, as long as it's present in the topic structure itself. And that's, I think, it's very differentiating, and I think that's very powerful. I think as long as you get a very good grasp of that, your learning and your mind process adoption is very advanced.
So that means with the topics and the filtering that there is already intelligence, and that you do not have to do all the translation when all the events come in, and is it an interesting event or not, but that's all done with the filtering and the topics.
Exactly.
And I would say that, for example, as a developer, if you want to get hands-on experience with that, for example, learning about topics and how AEM sort of handles it. Like, you don't really need access to an advanced event mesh. Like, you can easily go to Solace Pops or Cloud Plus and then spin up a free broker. Like, it's a trial, obviously, but then you can connect to it and you can play around with it and get familiar with it.
Yeah, it'll live for 30 days, and it's completely feature equivalent to all the general availability features that we usually have. And you can try it out, and it's an amazing learning tool.
Also, I would thought that you now would make a little bit of advertisement for your book that you wrote. And of course, I will link it to in the show notes.
Okay.
But now this is the time. Huh?
Okay, thank you very much. So last year I had the opportunity to work on an SAP Press e-byte, which is called Developing Event-Driven Integrations with SAP BTP. And it basically focuses on the different products that are part of the of SAP's event-driven portfolio. So there are 3 products. One is SAP Cloud Application Event Hub. There's also Event Mesh, which is a capability in SAP Integration Suite, and obviously SAP Integration Suite Advanced Event Mesh. So the book tries to cover all 3 products and gives practical examples. So it's obviously focusing on developers so that they can get started with the different products, and basically explaining a bit of the differences that there are between these products. So not just differences, not on prices or stuff like that, but like more on the technology side of things. What's possible with each one of them. That being said, like it's a field that's fast changing, you know. It's something that we keep seeing new innovations coming out from all the 3 different products. It's there, I would recommend it if you want to get an idea of how these 3 products differentiate, which is not something that we can sort of touch on a CodeJam. It requires a whole session just to go through all of them. But yeah, it is covered.
Today took us already 6 hours, so
almost, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And Michel, so you have learned. You are an experienced integration consultant, and now you have learned also advanced event mesh. What would be your recommendation to customers to make the first step, where to get, how to learn what it can be, of what value it can bring to their business?
I think what Antonio mentioned is you create your own setup, and then you show that to your business. That makes it so much more understandable instead
Seeing
of
is believing.
Instead the PowerPoints they know, but when you show something like this, then it's it makes much more much easier to understand what you're using.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe if in your business there's someone complaining about something taking too long, you know. This is, I don't know, maybe a process takes a week, you know, and then maybe with a quick proof of concept, just seeing messages flowing, and you can see that something is happening in near real time. And I think that, time is money, isn't it? So
even if you can show it within your own landscape, your own environments, and that's even better.
I think seeing your own data flowing somehow, it's incredibly powerful. Even if it's mock data, you know, like if you actually extract data from your own systems, but seeing your own data there somehow, it's like, whoa. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, the Future Group, for hosting the event today.
You're welcome.
A lot of people were interested, and also people that were not registered also showed up. So let's see what tomorrow will bring. And
tomorrow it's also almost full house.
It will be packed as well. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, very good.
So final words from your side.
I would say, just keep an eye out for everything that the developer advocates team ends up creating. You can subscribe to the SAP Developers YouTube channel, which is basically the avenue that where we publish the most, and check out the SAP Developer News as well, which is published every single Thursday European time if you're in this time zone. Check it out, because in the end we try to with every single episode announce any new things that are happening in the SAP world. So it will not just be advanced event mesh, but it will be all the different products that SAP has. So it's good to be subscribed to that, just to get a feel of how things are evolving, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any last words from you?
Similar to what Antonio said, right? So the SAP community YouTube channel is also a good source of information for a lot of AEM related material. We'll be publishing a lot of videos in the future as well about how to accelerate your EDA adoption and development journey with AEM. So yeah, look forward to that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, since we also talked about CodeJams and other CodeJams, and there are some listed, so let's go to the event calendar. But also, if you are interested in specific advanced event mesh CodeJam, then we can contact the CodeJam organization, and then you will fly over back to the Netherlands.
Yeah, it could be. It's possible. Yeah.
Let's go to the SB event calendar.
Yeah, so we already mentioned tomorrow, but that's probably too late for people that are listening or watching this episode. But tomorrow is also event-driven integration with SB integration, but then in the boss. And then 14th of February, another CodeJam, but that one is getting started with Generative AI Hub on AI Core, which is in Utrecht. And I think worth mentioning is also on the 13th of March, then we will have the VNSG and the SB big conference, connecting the dots in Den Bosch. That's what I know right now. And maybe also interesting at the end of March, 26th of March, then we have solution architecture for S4HANA also in Den Bosch. So I think enough events also for our community to join and get to know each other, but also spread the word, what are possibilities for our customers, because that's of course what it's all about, possibilities for our customers. And that comes this show to an end. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for.
And that's a wrap for this episode of HANA Café Nederland. Jan and Tom, loved having you here. Drop us a line if you have any thoughts or want to be on the show. We'll be back soon with more SAP goodness. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.
Goodbye.